of a team. How's that? Great
good job, Kel.
Great information. No, really, they are. And, I was wondering when they got off to the great start at the beginning of the season if we might see a bit of a slide. You kind of a little bit of a letdown. 5th consecutive road victory now. I don't see any letdown whatsoever. I kind of disagree with Garrett. I love him, but he said Hellebuyck might go tomorrow night. I'd go back with David Riddick.
I disagree with Garrett all the time, so I wouldn't worry about that. One thing I'll say, so the Jets, look at where they are in the standings. They're a point with a game in hand on Dallas. They could be the second place team in the Western Conference. So I know I'm a little bit biased here, but when you look at a team, especially when they have injuries, when you don't have Wheeler going tonight, you don't have some of your guys,
Ehlers,
you can plug in place. That's a well-coached team.
Yeah.
And I know it's only 30 games in, but that's a well-coached team.
That's one thing that Winnipeg does really well. They seem to find guys who aren't the biggest names, but they can fit in. Janssen Fjallby scored tonight. Pionk, when they traded him for Trouba, there were a lot of people saying Pionk, and he's turned out to be a heck of a player for them. Capobianco has scored tonight. That's one of the things the Jets have generally done a very good job is of identifying guys who fit spots. And tonight, all those guys were helpful for them.
Capobianco is an Oakville Blade.
I love that name. That's my new favorite name.
Isn't
in
it great?
Capobianco.
Kevin was a Burlington Cougar, and they are dread rivals.
Hated him. He was an Oakville guy?
Yeah.
Don't like him anymore.
That's right. So I just thought I'd break your heart with that one. But he has a game winner. He's had 4 goals in his National Hockey League career, 2 game winners, and he was really impressive tonight. Sam Gagner is an Oakvillian, too. So might as well keep throwing Oakville out there.
I like him.
The rink that he grew up on is now owned by Jean-Louis and Mimi Brennickmeyer, and that's where we did Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada 2 years ago. But again, to your point, Elliot, Gagner is just a guy, a veteran presence who's been doing it all.
Well, I'm happy for him. He's coming up on 1,000 games. Like, you remember the way he started his career. He made the Oilers out of his draft. And he had an 8-point. I remember he had an 8-point night, and he's consistently reinvented himself. And you look at how many teams have picked him up. Detroit picked him up. He picked up here by Winnipeg. He's just a guy who loves to play, doesn't cause you any problems. He's low maintenance, and that he's still got the ability to finish off a goal tonight that would lead any highlight pack of best goals of the night or best goals of the month in the NHL. I mean, it's hard not to look at this guy and root for him and be happy for him that here he is, considering, the way some of his last few years went.
2 similar stories, right? Gagner, not the fastest guy. Luke Schenn for Vancouver.
Yep.
Sort of, we talked about him last weekend. Same sort of story. You got to find a way, as you mentioned, to reinvent yourself, and it's a fast game. We've all known that for the last 4 or 5 years. Gagner isn't a speedster, but he knows where to play. I really had that feeling that he could last a little longer when Steve Yzerman, of all guys, grabbed him in Detroit, because Steve is not going to just gift you a job. You've got to earn it, and he has to respect you.
So what I want to say applies to both those guys, Schenn and Gagner. And I never played with Sam, but I played for his dad that worked for the Canucks organization for a number of years, and we have a lot of mutual friends, Sam and I. Every team he's been on, it seems like I've had a friend or an ex-team on. Everybody raves about him as a person.
Right.
So it's one thing to be a good player that's going to slot in and help your team, but what you said, about being low maintenance, he's a good teammate.
Yeah.
So he's a good person, a good teammate, and that allows him to fit in off the ice as well as on the ice. And same with Luke Schenn.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Always well-liked
just
amongst his teammates.
The role he's played, they had it on Peterson's growth, in the National Hockey League, is a lot to do with Luke Schenn. Here's Connor Hellebuyck, Scott Oak. Scott.
Connor, a solid night's work that'll boost your numbers. How would you assess your performance?
I thought the guys in front of me played a great game. Our details were right, our battle was right, and we really took our pace to them.
You did not have a really heavy workload. Do you think you can play tomorrow night in Seattle? Feel up to it?
I've always said if my name's called, I'll be ready. But when we have a full team here and we have to use them all, we'll use them all.
All right, back-to-back one-goal wins for you. Your numbers this season have been outstanding. They're shaping up to be better than they were the year you won the Vezina. Do you feel you're playing the best hockey of your career?
Well, definitely, but not only that, I think our team's playing the best hockey. We've been so detailed and so oriented and getting better, and it's been so fun to be around the rink every day. And just to battle with the guys. I think it's just carrying on, and every day we're trying to get better.
Well, on the topic of details, 16 blocked shots by your teammates tonight. What do you make of their sacrifices?
I mean, that should say it alone. They've just been playing phenomenal in front of me. The battle is huge, and they're paying the price. And I know it's reflecting my numbers, but these guys are winning games, and they deserve it.
All right, finally, Connor, when the camera comes into the room pre-game to get those dressing room shots, every time it does, you stare it down. This was you tonight. Why do you do this?
One day you'll find out.
You're not going to tell me now. Eh?
Not now. That's my little secret, and you guys can find out later.
But there is a good reason behind it?
It depends who you ask, but I think it's a good reason.
Okay. Well, we'll have to leave it there. You'll keep us in suspense.
Yep, you'll have a little suspense on that one.
All right. Thank you, Connor.
Thank you.
Well, actually, Elliot, you were going to go first, but Kelly, this is begs you.
Yeah, he's got such presence, right? He stands up there, and I've always said this word, use this word about a goaltender that has that presence. He looks like a general right there. Right? He's just chin up. He's just telling you what he wants to give you, not too much more. And I've loved to see his growth over the number of years that I've been around him. And I remember when I have shared this story many times, but it's still relevant for me. When I first met him, I was in the dressing room after the morning skate, and he seemed really shy to me. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is a hard league to be really shy for a goaltender, because you've got to have the utmost confidence in yourself. And just to see his growth, like, I think he's a fantastic leader on this team. His answers are exactly what I want. I think Kevin, as a defenseman, you go, okay, this guy's in charge. He's cool. I'm good with this guy. And I think, Elliot, I know you're going to go on a little bit more about him, but he is just a fantastic player and a spokesperson for the Jets.
So Scott asked them, I think, 7 questions there. 5 of them were very short answers because Scott asked bad questions, but also because they were about him. But the 2 he could spin about his teammates were the ones he turned longer. And that's, I think that's one reason they love him. He could win the Hart Trophy this year.
I agree.
You have a thought on that?
That's a typical goalie.
Yeah.
Spotlight, craving the spotlight, like all the goal.
Yeah, it looked like he was really craving the spotlight, right?
No, he's a guy that you'd want in your, because he has he's confidence in himself, right? And like what Kelly was saying, that's probably the most important thing. I just want you to stop the puck. If you're the goalie of my team, I want you to stop the puck, and I want you to believe that you can stop the puck. John Gibson's kind of the same way. Like he believes in himself, and that's what you want for your goalie.
Spencer Martin, by the way, it was good effort. You know, they were all over them. But Spencer will join Scott and Patrick Alvin, GM of the Vancouver Canucks, on After Hours. We'll come back, talk about a few of the storylines this evening around the NHL, and then get it out to Rogers Arena for After Hours.